Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. We are joined today with Crystal Hinkle. She is the sales manager and much more for SyncroMSP. Welcome, Crystal.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. I appreciate it, Scott.
Well, we are excited to dive into the Syncro platform and learn all that Syncro has been up to lately.
Awesome, which is a lot. And there's so I'll try not to be boring because there's so much.
Awesome. Well, so you all just came out with a new integration as well, remote support tool included in the price of Syncro.
Yes. So just a little bit of background. We've always had Syncro Live built right in at no additional charge, and that includes remote control, but it also has a really amazing set of backgrounding tools, including like Registry Editor and that sort of thing. But we have a fully built-in integration with Splashtop, so it's no additional charge, one-click remote control sessions, and I can absolutely show you that once we kind of get rolling into the demo too. Yeah, exciting stuff.
That is excellent. And Syncro is, one of your calls to action is that you are a all-in-one RMM and a PSA tool. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. And so I think this is one of those things I do like to dive into a little bit further, because I'm sure all of you have heard, combined solutions, all in one, business in a box, like one pane of I think we've all heard different iterations of that. So what I like to talk about with Syncro is that our technology was actually built together from the ground up. So it wasn't like one company had a PSA, one had an RMM, and we merged them together. That's what a lot of you'll see in the competitive landscape. That's kind of what you'll find, and that sometimes it's clunky to get from the PSA to the RMM, and maybe it even requires a log out, log back in, switching screens. Whereas with Syncro, everything is all under one hood. It's all in the same platform. So I definitely will show you all of the quick little buttons that get you here and there super fast and efficient.
Excellent. Well, let's dive right in.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I don't know. I think I'm permissions to do that.
That is the one thing that I keep forgetting before every live. I keep forgetting to turn that on. So I try it now. I think I just made it available.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to, you want to just let me know that you can see my Syncro dashboard now, the assets screen?
Yep, absolutely.
Perfect. All right. So what I like to do is I do like to start with just bringing up a customer detail screen. I think what's important about this, like I said, I was just on the assets screen and I started typing a customer's name, and I had the option to go to like assets, invoices, estimates. So you just have the power at your fingertips here. When I'm looking at this customer detail profile, there's a lot of information here. So I'm just going to break down this a little bit. If you go to SyncroMSP.com and fire up a new trial, one thing to note is that you might not see some of these things, which is why I think like doing a demo or, having a one-on-one call is important, because something like these custom fields, you wouldn't even see these out of the box. You wouldn't see this in a trial account. These are totally customizable. So these custom fields are anything from a text box, a check box. They can even be encrypted. So we do have a built-in encryption tool, so you can create those fields where these are internal only. So you have to click those, enter your password vault password to be able to unlock those.
Okay.
And I like mentioning this because, obviously we're high on security. So one thing to note here too is you can store encrypted fields here. This is going to be internal use only. You can also utilize credentials. So if you needed to store anything that's encrypted but be able to pass that to your customer in their customer portal, you do have the ability to do that. So there is a difference between custom fields being encrypted and credentials being encrypted.
That is super nice.
It is because obviously, like I just mentioned, there are certain things that you would never want your customers to have access to, and you'd want it internal only, and that's where these custom fields really come into play.
Well, I see that Larry is a good business to have. Everybody wants Larry as a customer.
He spends a lot of money, that's for sure. And it's so nice to be able to see at a glance, like, what is the health of Larry's business? If he's got a balance, we need to collect some payment, it looks like. But it's worth noting that we're not just a PSA and an RMM. We do have a fully built-in billing system. We have payment processor integrations. And so one thing to show too, if we hop into a customer portal, so what I'm about to show you is essentially you can customize the customer portal. So you might have customers where you would only want them to view their tickets, right? But you might have an admin that you would want them to be able to see everything. So you can create different groups of security permissions just for your customer portal as well. But from here, your customers can see all of their tickets. They could, if you give them permission, they can see their open invoice. Larry could log in here, and if you have a payment processor integrated, he can actually pay his bill right from his customer portal. So there's no other like third-party tools that you need to have as a connector. We don't charge for the integration itself. Your customers can store their credit cards on file. You can set up a reoccurring invoice that automatically charges that card that's on file. And we even support electronic fund transfer as well. So it's really all right here. We have great integrations with both QuickBooks Desktop and Online, as well as Xero. So really your day-to-day, all of your day-to-day billing can be done right out of Syncro. And then your accounting systems, you can keep them as what they are, accounting systems. Because I think a lot of times we're seeing MSPs are using QuickBooks or their accounting to bill their customers.
And this platform, you don't have to put it in here and then put it in QuickBooks. It all syncs together, right?
Exactly. So anytime you create an invoice on the Syncro side, it'll automatically sync that over to QuickBooks. If you make a payment, receive a payment within Syncro, it'll automatically sync that as well.
Wow. Even if you create a customer for the first time in Syncro, it automatically adds it to QuickBooks. It creates a customer in QuickBooks.
It does.
Very nice.
Yep, exactly. And then it also is a way, like if you're utilizing QuickBooks right now, that's also a really cool way when you're we all know that when you're looking at a new platform, one of the biggest headaches is how am I going to import all my stuff? I don't want to lose data. Like the transition is usually what's the most stressful. So with that said, the way that the QuickBooks integration or the Xero, you can import all of your customers straight from those platforms as well. We also, just with that said, we also have really great importing tools. Like if you are using, for example, Atera, AutoTask, Data, ConnectWise, we have really great migration tools as well to make that transition as easy as possible.
Very nice.
Okay, should I keep rolling?
Yeah, it's very well laid out.
Good, I'm glad. We're hoping that it's really user-friendly, quick to adopt, easy to use. When you're on this customer detail screen, as you scroll down, there's a ton of information here. You have access to all their tickets, estimates, invoices. What I like to show here, and this is where the power of a combined RMM and PSA really starts to come into play. You're on a customer detail screen here. I can see their assets. I can even see if a machine's online, but here's the cool part. So these little buttons here, this remote access, this is going to launch a Screen Connect session right from here. So you don't have to even go into the asset first. You don't have to go to the assets and RMM screen. You can literally do it straight from the customer detail screen. The other thing that I love, and it's one of my favorite things, this little magnifying glass, anytime you see this within the platform, just click it because it usually does something cool. So this is one of my favorite things. So not only, again, I'm on the customer detail screen, but by clicking that, I'm now getting an overview of the asset. I can see that it's online. I even get a thumbnail of what's actually happening on that machine right now. And again, this is part of the security group. So if you didn't want to see that, you don't have to, or if you didn't want technicians to see that, you can remove that permission. But from here, you could start a chat with a customer. So we have a really awesome built-in chat feature where you can enable that on an endpoint. You can reach out to customers. They can reach out to you. You can create tickets from a chat. So this is really, really cool that you can start that. The one thing I was going to do from this screen is go ahead and just create a ticket.
Okay.
there's many ways that you can have tickets created in Syncro. Of course, the ideal situation is that you're never creating them manually. Most of the time, we'd like that to either be created because your customer sends you an email or uses the system tray icon, or it's an automatic ticket created from an RMM alert. But if you have to manually create a ticket, this is my favorite way to do it because the asset's already attached to the ticket. You don't have to go attach it later. And then all you have to do is really fill out your required fields, which you have control over. Issue types are completely customizable. So I'm just going to say this is remote support. And then again, this is a demo. So that's really all I have to fill out to get this ticket created.
And I see there's a checkbox next to don't email. So you have an option to email it to your customer or not email it to your customer.
Yes. And then there's also preferences in your admin section, like where you can really define, because if you didn't want like the initial comment, for example, to send to your customer, if you didn't want emails to just automatically be sending, there are multiple settings where you can control that, as well as control the notifications that you're getting when tickets are created.
Okay.
One thing that's cool, these custom fields, I mentioned the custom fields on the customer level. You also have custom fields for a ticket and an asset as well. There's multiple use cases for a custom field. So like one would be like, if this was a new computer setup, you can see that now by selecting that custom field, I now have additional fields to fill out, and you can even customize this to that some can be required. So custom fields can come in really handy if you want to get more granular on the type of ticket that it is and the information that you would want collected. In addition to that, if I picked something like virus removal, it did add additional fields here for me to fill out. I'm not going to fill them out right now, but I want to show you by selecting that custom field what will happen when I create the ticket. So I'm going to just one click, get that ticket created. So I went from a customer detail screen. I have a ticket created now. My asset is attached to the ticket. But what also happened by selecting that virus removal custom field, I had it automatically attach my virus removal worksheet. So this is where really cool things happen. So it doesn't matter what size of an MSP you are. If you are running running the show plus doing all the technical work, there's some different, fixes or something like that requires a ton of different steps, and you're busy. Let's face it. It's nice to have a worksheet where you can be like, okay, did that, and it kind of like helps you follow a plan. In addition to that, it's really cool to help you manage if it's a larger project, or maybe you're training a new technician. It's a great way to train new technicians to just make sure they're following exactly what you'd like them to do.
And it doesn't have to be a worksheet for this type of ticket. You can create a worksheet template, I would assume, for any kind of ticket.
You can, yeah, and you can add worksheets here. So you don't have to have them automatically attached based upon a custom field. You can just ad hoc them here as well.
Okay, very nice.
Yes. So when we're in a ticket here, and I know I'm kind of speeding through some things. So of course, if you have any questions, please let me know. But if we scroll here, I'd like to show, the really important part when you're working on a ticket is making sure that you're billing for it, right? Or at least tracking your time. So it really doesn't matter what billing model you have. It's really important to be tracking that time. So pretty much you can essentially be able to report your value to your customers, right? So whether you're billing for this time or not, there's 3 ways that you can track it. So one would be to hit the play button here. It's going to automatically start tracking your time. When you're done and hit stop, it's going to enter a labor line item here. You can see the status is not charged. I have my account set to not automatically charge labor items by default. You can, on the flip side, if you do charge time and material for everything, you can have it default to automatically charge. So right now, not charging. If I view this log, I can also say, okay, maybe I worked on things for an hour. I'm going to put my notes here and I'm going to add this to the ticket. So from here, it looks like maybe my account is set to charge it automatically. Maybe it just took a second to sync. So these are showing that these are charged here. So I've logged 2 things of labor. If I scroll down, the third way that you can add time to a ticket is actually through this communication log. So if you want to like attach it to specific notes or something like that, you could say, okay, I was there for 60 minutes. I'm going to say, I don't want to charge this time. I just want to make notes that I did this thing. And you can add it to the ticket from here. This is also where you can email your customer. It can be a public note. You can even enable SMS and send a text message to your customer from here.
Very nice.
So,
And I noticed this going off at the top, everything you do, it's actually logging it and recording it.
Yep. Yep. So it's logging, it's recording there. And then if I scroll up to the top, this is what I like to show everyone. If you look at this add or view charges here, you can see I track time 3 different ways, but I only had 2 of them actually say charged.
Okay.
So this is where like you would be able to see really quickly. If I were to take this ticket and convert it into an invoice, these are going to be the 2 line items that are on that invoice.
Gotcha.
So this is also where you could add, like if you are selling products or services, you can add that here. So if you just start like typing in something that's in your inventory, you can add that to the ticket from here as well.
Okay.
Now, one thing I do want to show, since I attached the asset to this ticket, again, I've got all of my functionality right here within the ticket. So I also can launch right into a remote control session. I can go into my backgrounding tools, and my little magnifying glass is here as well. So all of that functionality remains within the ticket. While we're here, so this button, like I said, this is going to be Screen Connect. This is your one-click remote control right into a Screen Connect session. These backgrounding tools, this is Syncro Live. So this is what was natively built into Syncro from launch. We continue to add things to it, but by default, it takes you to the task manager with the ability to stop processes here. You also have a service manager, so you can search and you can start, stop, and restart services from this screen. You do have an event viewer. You can search by ID or even description. You can even add additional filters. Anything that you do click into, it's going to give you additional information, and you can copy that to a clipboard if needed. You've got your system information available. You have a file system, so you can create new folders, rearrange, move things around. So there's a lot of different things that you can do here with the file system. You have a registry editor. My understanding is that from here, like we added a ton, we built in a lot to this registry editor. But my understanding here is that like one of the main things that's superior to like the Windows registry editor, for example, is if you search something here, it's going to give you all of the returns. It's instead of like separately returning each individual value. So it makes you quite a bit more efficient from here.
Nice.
Last thing, so again, we did not take away Syncro Live remote control. So you do absolutely, you now have 2 built-in remote control tools. So this is what Syncro Live looks like. While I'm here, I just like to show, this is what the system tray icon looks like. You can customize that to your own logo, of course. When you click it, you can see there's a ton of options here. This is all customizable by you in your policy. So I mentioned chat, like now I have the option, this customer can click live chat, they can start a chat. They have the ability to, create a ticket from here. So there's a ton of things that they can do. And then lastly, you've got your terminal. So whether it be command line or PowerShell, you can be running things in the background. So all of these tools at your fingertips directly from the ticket itself.
Very nice. So all of those tools like PowerShell and everything like that you're running in the background, your customer can actually be using the machine, the endpoint, and they don't even have any idea that you're resolving an issue for them. That's very nice. So they go uninterrupted.
Exactly. So I think from here, and I was going to ask you, Scott, I didn't know if there's any questions coming in yet from anywhere. Do you see any questions yet?
Let me look real quick.
Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here.
I am not seeing any right this second. I'm going to try to find the live stream. I tend to have tunnel vision when I get on these demos.
I do too. And I'm like terrible at Facebook just in general. So I'm like, I don't know where these questions would come in, but shall I just kind of keep going then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So I think what's really important here, because I mentioned it when I showed the customer portal, is we do have a complete billing module built right into Syncro. So
okay,
most important part of running an MSP is billing your customers, right?
Got
And
a bill.
not spending a ton of time doing it. So I want to show reoccurring invoices just to accommodate for the time that we have. I think it's worth just showing. I'm just going to pull up any of these reoccurring invoices here. This is how you're going to bill, how you're going to build a way to bill your customer on a reoccurring basis so that you don't necessarily have to touch it at all. That's kind of the goal.
Wow.
Is that you could say, okay, I want to bill my customer monthly, and you can have it start on a certain day. You can choose, if you're billing in arrears or in advance, you can call the invoice whatever you want. We did add the functionality that you can have multiple invoice templates. So as we know, some customers like to see this, that, or the other on an invoice, and some customers don't care, and it can be just a lump sum, so we know that we're kind of like accommodating for that as well. So you can choose which template you want to use. And what I really love about Syncro is that we really accommodate for most billing models. So with that said, what I mean by that is if you bill time and material, for example, a lot of times when you're billing time and material, your monthly billing, you have to go back through manually all of your tickets, make sure you're counting up all of your labor. And with a click of a button here, you can do this within Syncro that it happens automatically. So anytime like you're working on a ticket and you're adding those charges and adding labor to the ticket, you can actually just have them automatically pull into this invoice on the date that you say you want them to. What's even better is that you can choose, hey, I actually only want to pull in tickets that have charges on them that have been resolved. Because
Okay.
you have times where you still have an open ticket and you don't want to bill them until it's complete. So you have a lot of functionality here. In addition to that, so like I said, different billing models. We have a way that you can bill your customers, like if it's a flat rate, you can do like a standard line item here. It can pull, like if you have a monthly MSP fee, you want to add your own description and you're charging $4,000 a month, for example. Like you could literally have an invoice that just has this line on it and good to go. What we're seeing a lot of is that MSPs are either billing time and material plus a per endpoint or a per endpoint flat rate. So we do have dynamic counters as well. So you can see those here. Like if you wanted to bill per contact, for example. So for each employee, instead of billing per device, you have a way to dynamically bill based upon the context that you're putting into Syncro. You also have a way to bill per like server or per workstation. So it's really a very granular billing module. The last thing that I'll just kind of plug here is that for all of those cloud services that you're billing for as well, we have a great integration with Pax 8. So as you're adding or removing Microsoft licenses, for example, it'll automatically do that if you have that line item in your reoccurring invoice that's attached to your Pax 8 line item. They even prorate it. So pretty awesome options here.
Nice.
Scott, do you have any questions by chance?
I don't. I'm just kind of in awe. It's so much, and it's just very well thought out and put together. I really like the platform a lot.
Awesome. I love hearing that. I think that when, like, a little bit just about me, I've been with Syncro since launch, and so for me, it is very well laid out. I know exactly like where all of the things are, but it's nice. it's that easy for everyone as well. That's really important to us. I think like from here, what I'd love to do is just briefly at least give that high level of what the RMM portion looks like. And what's worth noting here is, again, I'm with clicks of buttons, I'm moving from an RMM to a PSA, like with a click. These tabs up here are customizable. You'll see that like you have the option to enable a lot of different modules, and then you can choose how you want them displayed. So, if there's certain things that you would use more often, you can customize that to make it even easier to navigate. So for me, I'm going to hop over here to my assets in RMM. I've got this interactive dashboard here. I can kind of get a high level of what's going on. As I scroll down, I'm just getting a complete list of all of my assets. So you can customize the way that this list looks. So we have these different column options. And as you can see, you can really customize this to see exactly what you want to be seeing at first glance. And they're based upon any of the asset details plus any custom fields that you create for your assets. In addition to that, like I mentioned, the little magnifying glass is one of my favorite things. So this is another one. If you click this, this is a way to create a saved asset search. So anything that you want to be counting dynamically, you can create a search for it. So if you wanted to just get a list of all your workstations or a list of all your servers or whatever that might be, hey, I need to know all of my machines that have a specific application installed because I need to run a scripted mask to uninstall it. So there's multiple use cases for these saved asset searches. You can even bill against them. So it is part of that dynamic counter in the invoicing system as well.
So is there a way in Syncro, I would assume it'd be right here probably, that you could go in if you were using Syncro and tell out of all of your managed endpoints, which ones need updates?
As far as Windows updates?
Yeah, Windows updates, third-party, or even third-party patching?
Yeah, so a couple things on that. I love this question. So one thing is that on a policy level, let's just hop over there real quick. I'm going to open this tab, but then I'm also going to show you on an actual asset too. So for example, speaking of Windows patching, because I think anyways, right now, that seems to be like a really hot topic, making sure that we're properly patching at the time that you're wanting it patched. And then also, like you're saying, having a lot of visibility if something isn't patched. So from here, like I'm looking at just an asset detail screen. I don't have a ton of control over what I'm monitoring and what I'm not from this screen. It's more of like, this is what's happening. Okay. Like if I scroll through these options here, I'm monitoring for smart failure and hard drive space. That everything you see here is controlled by the policy that's applied to this asset. So I'd be able to see antivirus, which I've got MCSoft installed. I could run scans from here. I can view if there was any threats found straight from within the platform. I can run a script. I can like actually schedule a reoccurring script, that kind of thing. But this is what you're wanting to see. So installed applications, what's really, really nice is that from just a bird's eye view on the asset, you can see all of your installed applications. There's even a notification setting if you want to be notified if a customer is installing or uninstalling new things, which is really important. In addition to that, you have visibility over their Windows patches. So you can see everything that's patched recently. You would be able to see from here if there was something missing. I'm also going to show you a report of how you could see that as well.
Okay.
What's nice about this is then when we hop over to the policy, so the base package, this is what was applied to that policy. The reason that I know that is if I'm here on the machine, I can see the policy is base package. Okay. So that's the one I've pulled up here just so we can see exactly why things look the way that they do. I can see that I have smart failure and my low hard drive space. I can, of course, click all of these. These are kind of your organically built-in triggers. So you can be monitoring all of these things plus different drives.
So I see blue screen there. Does the Syncro platform actually just alert you that there was a blue screen, or does it give you details as to what happened during the blue screen?
So it's going to, what's cool about this is, so it's going to alert, it's going to tell you what's happening, but you could set up an automation that if you do get this alert, you want to either pull event logs or something like that at that time. So you can use our automations to get more information if on particular alerts. And I'll show you that too. So the other things to just mention while we're on a policy here is, of course, you do have built-in process and service monitors, event log monitoring. These are built-in presets, but you can monitor specific event IDs as well. CPU and memory usage alerts, notifications if like a server went offline. But here's your Windows updates. So I'm going to go ahead and open this in a new tab. So as you can see on the policy level, I can choose like, all right, I want like this patch policy. You can add more than one policy. So I'm going to show you why you would maybe want to add more than one. So if I create my new Windows Update Management policy, you can see I now have full control over categories. So if I want to say I want feature packs and definition updates to patch the fourth Thursday of every month, like you can get that granular. You can even choose if it requires a reboot, how you want Syncro to respond to that. In addition to that, maybe you want security updates to patch daily for example. So I think this is where it would make sense if you had multiple Windows patch policies to apply here. If it would be different for each category. So just to stay on track and focused on kind of what was important to you, I want to just show you too, before I hop completely out of policies, I'm going to hop over to reports. I want to show you, because the main question was, how do I know which machines are patched and which aren't? So if you hop over here to these RMM reports, you can see missing patches by KB, and you can also see vulnerable systems. So they are a little bit different. So one of them, like the title says, one of them is like, okay, here's all my machines that are missing this specific KB. And then this is a different way to look at it. You can see, okay, this machine is like, at a very quick glance, you can see, oh geez, this one has 15 missing patches, and you can actually install them from here, from the report.
Oh, nice.
Yes, so we try to make that as visible and actionable as possible. And again, all of this, is initially set up on a policy level. The other thing you had mentioned was third-party application patch management, which is right below Windows patch management in the policy. So again, you have a ton of control over third-party applications. So when you create a new policy here, you can see you've got all of our built-in, these are like organically built in, where you can choose if you want to not install, update if present, or install and update. But what we've done just in the last year is we've added the ability to access the entire Chocolatey repository. So like if you wanted to have like Zoom client meet, all of these things update or install, that kind of thing, you can actually add custom applications here. And there's like 7,000 applications in that repository.
So correct me if I'm wrong, could you not use the Syncro platform just to deploy the Syncro agent? And if you have your policy set up and these configured, you wouldn't have to touch the machine. The machine would automatically install all the applications you want. Wow. Yeah. That could save you a ton of time.
Yes. And in addition to that, I love that you brought that up. So what's another thing that when you're, setting up a new computer, you want to make sure that it's protected, right? So the other part that's built right into the policy is being able to enable one of our 3 antiviruses. So we have Bitdefender, Webroot, or MCSoft. So with a click of a button, you can enable, I have MCSoft enabled here, but you can see we have direct integrations with both Bitdefender and Webroot. And so when you install Syncro, you can have it just automatically install that antivirus as well. With that said, there's like one extra step that you can even do to get even more granular. You have the ability to do setup scripts here. So if there is any sort of custom install, maybe it's like a dental office that has custom software, for example, you could put that into a setup script. And then you have script schedules. So if you know that on all your machines, you want the recycle bin cleaned weekly on a Friday, super basic example, but you could do that on a policy level. The last thing that I'll talk through on a policy is this area here where you can see I've got my device system tray menu. So when I was in that Syncro Live section and I clicked the little system tray icon, this is what it was pulling from. So you have all of these different menu types. You can send them to a website. You can have them, create an email. But what we find is these agent contact forms are incredibly popular. This is where, they can create a ticket. They can take a screenshot of what's happening on their machine. It'll automatically, again, like I said, create a ticket for you, or this live chat. That's another huge one. You do have to enable this on a policy level because I think, this was a chat built specifically for MSPs. And I'm sure as MSPs, you might have customers that you might not necessarily want them to be able to just chat with you at any time.
Sure.
So you can choose to not enable that on a policy as well.
Well, we kind of briefly touched on scripting. Can I turn you in that direction for a minute? With your scripting, what about those MSPs who aren't really good at scripting? Do you have like a repository of predefined template for scripts?
Yes, because I will be the first to say I would not be to like just hop in here and write my own script. But if you go to your scripting module here, we do give you a handful of scripts just out of the box. You'll see this has in here. But if you go to view and this community script library, you've got access to a ton of scripts. One of the things that I like to do, I like to sort by imports sometimes, just because it'll show me, like I like to sort from the other direction, who's using what. So I like being able to see, like, okay, this might give you some ideas of like, what am I doing all the time that I don't need to be doing manually? What could I just like set up as a script, whether it's reoccurring or whatever it might be? And then also, like, why reinvent the wheel? If you've got someone that's already written the script for you, all you have to do is import this to your script. So once you click this button, it will be available for you, like as when you just go to your main script screen, as well as anywhere that you can run a script within the app, you have access to anything that's in this list. One other thing just to note here, for those of you that do write your own scripts and you are quite proficient in scripting, our scripting engine is the best out there. So not only, I mean, you do have different file types. PowerShell is for sure the like most functional, not functional, the most robust, because it gives you the ability to use script variables. So these variables, what is quite amazing is that you can have platform variables here. You can have a script that read or writes to like an asset custom field. You can even go into the PSA and update a contact custom field if you wanted to via a script, which is really, really incredible. One of the main use cases, like if you were doing an install across a customer base, you might have a custom field that has like an API key or something like that that you can access. As you scroll down, you'll see that we do have a built-in PowerShell module. So from here, we give you some quick help. So again, for those of us that don't immediately know how to write a script, this is really helpful, because all you have to do is put this into the first line of your script. Like I mentioned, you can have certain things like, you know, logging or updating an asset field, for example. Like I said, you can read or write to asset fields. One thing that's really, really incredible, you can have a script log time in your ticket. Like you can be making money in your sleep. You can have an RMM alert go off, automatically run a script, log time in that ticket, remediate the issue. It shows up on an invoice. You didn't even have to do anything. So this PowerShell module is really incredible. I would definitely make sure you scroll down to check that out when you're creating scripts. And I keep talking about that like automatic actions. So I really want to just make sure, I know we're kind of running out of time, but I want to just make sure I go through this, because this is pretty incredible. If you go to automated remediation here, Scott, this was one of the example where, like, if you had an alert and you wanted to see exactly like the blue screen, right? So yeah. Let's say if you had an automation set up, that you set up a condition and you say trigger category, and let's say then you select over here recent blue screen. So if the trigger category is that, you could add additional conditions too. Maybe you don't care about certain policies, or you just want to make sure you get event logs if it happens on like the president's computer. I don't know. I mean, you can add additional conditions here. But once those conditions are met, then you can say, okay, let's convert this to a ticket. You can predefine all of these fields, which will save you a ton of time. We even have tags that you can pull in there. So you can have it create a ticket. You could then have it run a script. So you could have that script in your repository that says, you know, get event logs for the last 15 minutes or whatever, and it'll upload. You'll have your ticket created. It'll actually upload that into the ticket. So that's really incredible. And then, so you can run a script. You could even have like a PowerShell. You could either run separate scripts, or you could put part of that PowerShell module into the script that logs time in your ticket, for example. You could then email your customer and let them know, hey, this, that, or the other happened. And then you could clear the alert or close the ticket. So this is really kind of how you can, we like to say, and if you've seen any of our videos, we like to say, like, we're trying to make ways for you to make money in your sleep. This is one of those ways.
We all want to make money in our sleep.
Yes, exactly. So So hopefully that kind of answers your question, Scott, about, getting those event logs if there is that blue screen.
Absolutely. So what is your favorite part of Syncro?
I love this question. So I think I'm ridiculous. I love the little magnifying glasses. I'm not gonna. I love to be able to click a button and see all of the things. That's incredible. But honestly, I'm in sales, and being able to bill your customers automatically, charge a card on file, set it up one time, and not have to worry about like collecting money every month. To me, that there's a ton of value there.
Absolutely. No, I love that. That's really, really nice.
Let's see. What else do you think, Scott?
So I like how everything is laid out. I like how granular it is. Go back to your original screen when we first started this demo. You had a lot of bells and whistles there. So it kind of brought up the question to me. This is a lot. What about the person that just gets on to Syncro? How complicated is this to set up? What kind of support is there? I did see something on one of those drop downs that said training.
Yes. Okay. Love it. So one of the things, so we do have, like, if you, yeah, you saw it here.
Yep.
So we do a training tab built right into the app. I believe while I think it's here even after, you subscribe and that sort of thing.
Okay.
But what I really like to highlight is that we do offer a ton of support. So whether you have a trial of Syncro or you don't, you can get on a one-on-one call with an account executive. They'll give you a full demo. They're going to see if it's the right fit for your business, if we can accomplish everything that you need to do. In addition to that, so like we'll help support along the way, but we also have Syncro 101 and 102. 101 is a deep dive into the PSA. 102 is a deep dive into the RMM. So it's like very tactical. You can be watching, having a screen up, and help, we can help you kind of get that set up. We do have someone that will, after you go to the 101 and 102, we do have one-on-one onboarding sessions as well. The amazing thing about Syncro, like I mentioned, I'm just going to hop over there as I'm sharing my screen. It's worth showing our App Center. Not only will you see right out of the gate here that we have a lot of integrations at your fingertips here, but I mentioned that we do have these importing tools. So like the ConnectWise importer tool, that kind of thing. But if you see this little agent installer one, asset import tools. So we're trying to make this as easy as possible. As you can see, you've got some familiar faces here that if you are using any of these platforms, we do try to make that as streamlined as possible to be able to migrate. And what I also will mention is that we don't charge anything additional for onboarding. It doesn't take a specialist to onboard yourself or your team. It doesn't take a specialist to import your information. We have created this application so that it is a quick adoption, and we provide a ton of support.
So one thing we haven't talked about though are Mac, Apple OS, OS X. Does Syncro support Apple products as well?
Yep, we do. So let me just show you, like if I go to like Larry, for example, I'm not sure if I have any Mac machines on my demo account, but one thing to see here, if we're on this screen and I go new and I want to install an RMM agent installer, what you can see is that you have access to all of the policies that you've created. So if I want to install the base package, I've got my Mac agent right here. So we have our version 2 of our Mac agent. It's been a complete rebuild. It is awesome. So all of the functionality, like you use the same policies, and so you have a lot of the same options of what you're monitoring. You can set up the same automations. Our scripting agent does support Bash, right? Bash scripting for Mac.
Okay.
Do have Mac support as well.
Very nice. And so all the features pretty much work the same. Is there anything missing from the Mac side that just doesn't work with Mac, or do you still get all the same features that you showed us, like the chat? Obviously the ticket creation would be the same.
Ticket creation is going to be the same. The one thing I like to mention that is not released yet, but is in the works, is that Screen Connect direct integration to the Mac agent. So that is in the works, should be released soon. So that would be kind of like, in my opinion, probably the main functionality that you'd be like, where is it to be open there?
So you guys also have have your own integrated backup solution too, right?
Yes. So what we're doing is we had kind of a limited release and got a ton of feedback, and we're working on all of the feedback that we've received.
Okay.
We'll probably do another full launch, but yes, it's phenomenal. It is 100% built in. It'll come with like its own dashboard. You can see how many, machines and that you're backing up, and what's really cool is that we're going to provide tools of different ways where you can see like maybe where you're leaving money on the table as well.
Well, we all need to see that. That's very important. So what is the easiest way if someone is thinking about Syncro, they like what they're seeing, what's the easiest way for them to take advantage of Syncro and get started?
Yes. So I believe it's just, let me grab it really quick. Obviously, SyncroMSP.com. But I think we have a specific landing page for you guys, right, Scott?
I believe so. SyncroMSP.com/ITBOG, right?
Exactly. So I'm going to hop over to that screen too, because you can schedule a demo straight from here. So that's what I would recommend doing. Hopefully, Scott, you could, if it's not already dropped into the Facebook group, you could drop that landing page.
Sure.
Because I think, yeah, you get 20% off the first month. You can do, your free one-on-one demo with one of our product specialists. Our account executives are incredibly knowledgeable on the product. One of the things that Scott mentioned, and I'll touch on it, like, we do not have an aggressive sales team. I know that it can be scary to like reach out in that like endless funnel. I totally get it. But once you schedule a demo with an account executive, you're with that account executive. So we'll work with you and your time frame and that sort of thing. So you don't have to be nervous about that at all.
Very nice. Well, I'm just really excited for Syncro and all the things you guys seem to keep coming up with. The Splashtop integration is huge. You guys just always are continuing to build out a great product. So
thank you. And I guess I would be remiss if I missed to say, like, everything that I just showed you, our pricing model, we bill per user, per technician. So it's unlimited endpoints. You can spend $129 a month for all of that functionality that I just showed you, and we do not charge additional for endpoints. So you could have one user at $129, and it doesn't matter if you have 100 endpoints or 500. It's the same monthly price. So
wow. Well, there's so many vendors out there in the channel that, they have minimums, and I get it. I understand. But if you're just starting out, if you're just starting your MSP, it's really tough to meet those minimums. So this pricing model is beautiful.
It's tough to meet the minimums. And then what I hear often too, it's almost scary to grow your business, because you're like, I just signed this new client, 100 new endpoints. I'm super excited. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now my monthly bill just like I shot to the next tier of endpoints, for example. So
that's right.
Don't punish your growth. We actually encourage it.
Well, that's excellent. Well, I was looking and I don't see any other comments. So I guess we can wrap it up from there. But did you have something that you wanted to do special for the group with the coffee mug?
Yes, exactly. So my camera with the background, but anyways, I have this awesome Syncro mug that I'd love to give away. And again, I don't know, like, should I just give you the link to sign up for it, or should we just like drop that into the Facebook group, Scott? Is that the best way?
Yeah, just drop it as a comment. Do you see the post where we're live?
Yeah, I think I do. Yes, I'll drop it in there for sure. Once we hop off this, because I'm like you, Scott, I might not be able to multitask that well in Facebook, but I will drop it there.
Well, maybe we could do two. We could do one that way and do another for whoever says what they like the most about today's demo, what product they like, what aspect of the demo they like the best.
I love it. I've got these mugs and I'd like to give them away. So definitely in that Facebook channel, that'd be great.
Sounds great. Well, Crystal, thank you so much for your time this morning, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You do the same. I'll talk to you.
All right. See ya. Thanks. Bye-bye.